Greetings once again, Rebels. You are listening to the life of a content-creating college student. And to those of you who are still going after Wendy 027's first season, congrats. But however, you won't get far.
Lord Vader, I believe this is for you.
I swear, this is another myth. Wait, Wendy 027 caught my paycheck?
I'm afraid so. The ruckus party we went to make up Tammie affected the workplace.
I can't believe this. How are we gonna afford the Death Star to now? No!
In a tight crunch for scholarships. Trying to get around the writer's block for your net video. We've got you covered. Welcome to Life of a Content Creating College Student. With your hosts, Wayne C. 0207 and Charlotte Wade.
And good evening, folks. My name is Waynesy0207, also known as Colton W. Hurst, and I'm your host of this podcast. Welcome to episode 3, where our battle against workaholism continues.
Hello, everyone. I am very excited for today. We have a full roundtable here recording with us. We have both Zoe again back from last week and Tammie, the new top director. Do you guys want to say hi? Everybody, so glad to be back.
Hey, great to be here for the first time.
And for the record, Tammie is actually my new top advisor now. There's been a little bit of a change in the schedule of how things are done around here. We've had to swap some things and change all our T's, dot all our I's. It's just been crazy all around.
Yeah, we're pretty fluid.
Yes.
There's help all around, right? We need it.
Yes, absolutely.
Just like Dumbledore.
Yep, I guess. Yep, I guess you can say that. And of course, our fundraiser for Step Up for Mental Health is still going. I strongly encourage that you donate to that to support our endeavors against workaholism. It's going to take all of us to beat it.
Yeah, well, let's look at some of the pros that went on these last 2 weeks in your struggle with and fight against workaholism. What are 2 things that went well for you?
For starters, all the essential files have now been transferred over to my new laptop and everything is working in OBS. I've had the opportunity to test stream, albeit a little bit since the audio was a little choppy and my TV wasn't in sync with my button presses, and it worked without interruptions. It's a shame that Twitch does not allow 4K streaming, otherwise I would have done it already. Regardless, it's amazing being able to stream in 1080p 60 and not have to worry about losing any frames whatsoever. The GeForce RTX 4080 is doing its job. You see, Twitch, getting our 4K servers, it takes a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
High quality resolution is just, it's not cheap.
No, it isn't.
And then I've learned a new process for generating new ideas for setup and content. This process is known as design thinking. It is a 6-step process revolving around getting ideas from everyday conversation and making connections between whatever people say and the task at hand. Then we generate ideas and use an idea for the prototype that is designed, tested, and told about to professionals and business folk. I have a great feeling this will help me out in my content creation endeavors because part of the job is making sure the equipment works and there's stuff to talk about, which there really hasn't been much stuff that has been said on my streams. Haven't been getting much attention from those, but if you've seen the update, you'll notice that there's been a schedule change. If you haven't seen the update video, please go check it out. It's on my Facebook, YouTube, and social media platforms.
I like this new 6-step process. It helps you be inspired by everyday life, which I think is important for battling workaholism, to love what you're seeing around you in your day-to-day, right?
And I learned this design thinking process from Ready, Set, Innovate, if you're wondering.
Awesome. So
After a long few weeks of transfer, the new VideoMaker 9000 is fully functional for use with its GeForce RTX 4080 and i9 processor. From this point onward, there is no room for interruptions in a recording. However, there is a little bit of a drawback. Every time the PC is at high pressure, the fan just roars and roars, leading to overheating and the iconic blue screen of death. It's just gotten monotonous.
So that's a really interesting. So what I wanted to ask you was, what is one setback you've come across in the past 2 weeks?
Although I was able to upgrade a good chunk of my equipment, my Xbox when plugged into the capture card was stuck in 1080p at the least optimal settings after noticing that my Xbox movements weren't syncing with the TV. Yes. Yeah, cue the zonk trombone for that. Actually, cue the fail horn for that. But after inspection, I conducted that the HDMI cables I was already using with the capture card were still ordinary 1080p cables. That was one of the causes. I took the liberty of ordering 8K HDMI cables which were on their own, unable to bring the TV back in sync. After further investigation, I discovered that my current capture card is now obsolete. That's the big one.
That takes them.
Yep, and I've had the KKF capture card for 1 or 2 years now. The KKF capture card only captures in 1080p, not 4K, if that makes sense. Yeah, it says 4K in the title, but no, you gotta read the description carefully. Yeah. And plus, as is, you just can't complain about what you purchase nowadays. As a result, I will have to upgrade my capture card to something more effective, which I cannot do at this time due to my limited budget. Thank you for your patience as we continue to fully upgrade our streaming setup. Yep. Yes. The end of the term is not too far away, and that big refund is gonna come any day now.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yes.
What is one thing that you can take away from this process you went through, and how can you turn this setback into an accomplishment?
If your TV is high quality and you're doing live streaming, always upgrade your capture card and HDMI cables to match the quality of your TV. Otherwise, your gameplay will not sync with the TV. Also, I happened to notice this on the Halloween before we went out on the ghost tour. The monitor wasn't in sync with,
The sound.
the speaker.
Yes. I blame that on the smart board that we were playing it on is a little old. So I blame it on that technology.
So it's technically a semi-smart board.
What resolution is the smart board in?
Ooh, that is an excellent question that I have no idea.
I'm sure you could check.
Maybe IT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And now it's time for our random fact of the day to give ourselves a little bit of a break. Nintendo actually existed as a company since 1889.
What were they making back then?
Card games and board games. They started out with just plain old playing cards. Oh, quite a lot. Business as usual, though. Acing midterms and applying concepts to my daily work as a creator. In business law, we wrapped up discussions on copyright law and began to delve into contracts specifically. Many creators are forming implied contracts when performing their services, and bigger creators get into explicit contracts with their social media platforms and advertisers. Because with the UGC, sell goods over $500 or greater, it has to be in writing, statute of frauds, that kind of deal. And plus, YouTube has its own terms of service. The terms of service is a contract in of itself. So we're actually signing into these contracts on a regular basis. It's just unbelievable if you come to think about it. Yeah, bad boys. Both parties have to agree to these terms and ensure business is done fairly and effectively. Otherwise, it's a breach of contract and remedies must be sought. In small group communications, we've delved into what it means to be a leader in groups, and the book I was handed by Shawnee differentiates leadership and management. I knew being a leader was about using influence and improving your peers and mentees, but as CEO, I never imagined management and leadership were two different things. As I am typing up the final draft for my first paper, I am taking the time to adjust to the focus on how I improved Hearst Entertainment volunteers and not necessarily make the shots, because that's not all leadership is cracked up to be. In accounting, oh my goodness, I don't know why I typed up economics, we wrapped up accruals and deferrals, as well as covered the closing entries that brought the accounting cycle together. We also took a bite into entries to a perpetual system, which was rather perplexing and interesting. It only took me 39 minutes to wrap up the accounting midterm, with all the accounts balancing on the worksheet and all the temporary accounts closed on the closing entries.
Nice.
I did make a bit of a mistake on the second question, but I spotted it and made some corrections. But however, I actually made an error in, on the last section where the expenses were recorded prematurely. It was actually accounted for 1 month instead of 2. Had I got 100 on that accounting midterm, I probably would have been above 100% in that course. But the extra credit bumped me back up to a 98, so I still got a high A in the class. Lastly, in marketing, we learned about the development of products and types of products themselves and tackled a midterm in that class. It was simple for the students who did the readings and participated actively. All in all, it was just business as usual. Nothing too exciting, really. I mean, midterm was pretty easy. And Professor Wyman actually brought me in this morning when I got my large mocha. I was kept up until 12:30 last night. Yep.
Did you get to sleep in?
Well, a little bit, but I knew today was an important day, so I had to make sure I was up and at 'em.
Oh, yeah.
Large mocha did help me recover, though. And so when I spoke with Professor Wyman, I did miss 2 questions. On the last question, it was half a point. And on one of the questions referring to positioning statement, it was 1 point. Yeah, I should have stuck with my guns, but hey, at least I got it the first time around.
Yeah.
And you're learning from something, right? So,
yeah, it was still a 67.5 out of 69. Funny number.
That's a good number. So, how can you apply or enhance your studies based on your experiences?
Well, I could apply the weaknesses of my prior leadership role at Hearst Entertainment in my studies. I could have communicated with the team members better and coordinated at a consistent location. Back then, I didn't know the stages of forming groups, so knowing this, I can better prepare when Hearst Entertainment Neo forms. You see, some of the members didn't exactly have a structured framework for resolving conflicts, per se, and that is pretty crucial when working in groups, especially in important missions like Workaholism.
Well, I'm interested to hear what you did as a content creator these past 2 weeks.
Yeah, we've been doing some upgrading around the studio, and things have been looking better when I record. Once I got everything transferred over, it was about configuring the settings on my microphone and webcam to the right settings and playing around with the equipment to see what combinations worked and what flopped. And believe it or not, the NVIDIA enhanced microphone is actually what we're using to record this episode. So everything is now in full swing with this new laptop I've got. The Video Maker 9000 is just out there and it's doing its job. It's just straight up slaying. Definitely. Sadly, we've only done a partial Raid Time Friday live stream and the rest for the weekend were canceled. And also the streams on Twitch itself weren't getting many views. As a result, there's no competition and there is no interaction. With no interaction, there's no service. For this reason, I got together one of Hearst Entertainment's veteran volunteers, Heidi, and brainstormed with her over lunch on Thursday to determine a new schedule and format for my streams. Shout out to you, thanks for having lunch, and thanks for giving us a little bit of a hand. Part of which I will disclose right now. I plan on returning to Facebook to stream for the time being. I miss you folks so much. Nothing pains me more than to see you going without high quality entertainment. When you're entertained, I'm entertained. This is what I love about my job because getting to see the impact means a lot to service providers. And essentially what content creation is, it's like a hobby and a job at the same time. It's taxing when you don't have too many people coming on, and it becomes more hobby-like when you've got so many people you get to interact with, and it just makes the experience more wholesome because it's all about forming a relationship with the audience members.
And when you're expending all of that energy, it's nice to get some energy back to keep our cups filled. Right?
Yes. And that's part of what combating workaholism is all about. For the record, I'll allow you to address this right now. Zoe is a recurring guest in our podcast for season 2. And Tammie is a new guest for season 2. And how we're structuring season 2's episodes is every episode we're going to try our best to bring a workaholic into the episode to have them voice their thoughts and opinions on the issue, as well as voice their experiences. So Tammie, why don't you voice your experiences if you're comfortable?
Yeah, I'm comfortable. Okay, so when I was younger, and my kids are little, so I'm obviously older, I was teaching, and at the time, my job was like an hour away. So, and I had small children, and I was the only person in the house who cooked. And of my 3 children, 2 of them refused to eat school lunch.
Oh no.
So, and it was like, man, I could pay that school lunch all you want. So what it ended up being, I used to have to get up in the morning at 4:30 in the morning, make everybody's breakfast and lunch, and then leave by 5:45 in the morning to get to my job, because every 15 or 5 minutes you left late, 15 minutes added to your drive. And so it was terrible, right? And then I would still come home, and I would still have to, after an hour and a half back because the traffic was so bad, come home, make dinner for everybody. That was the expectation. And then I was doing some classes for my master's and my PhD classes twice a week too. And if I couldn't get home, I had to pre-plan that. So on Sundays, I would just make 3 or 4 meals ahead of time with the directions.
Oh yeah.
And that was kind of like my work week. And then tutoring on Saturdays, things like this. I was a department chair. It was a lot.
It's a big balancing act.
It was a balancing act. I look back on it and I don't even know, like, what? How did you do that?
Oh yeah. Power through.
Yes. And it's just so amazing having a fellow workaholic as my as my top advisor, because I have someone whom I can relate to and someone who could support me all the way. I remember back during my first year of college, it was a bit of a bumpy road starting a winter term because the engineering was starting to get to me a little bit. Welding was just, it was something outside of my purview, and my goals were pretty ambitious, and I'd say all of that was what enticed me to work harder, and so that's how I ended up becoming a workaholic myself, and a minor one at that. But however, when Claire, Charlotte, and Desiree stepped in and helped me guide me to a better major, I realized my path in life, and that's to entertain you folks and to make an honest living for my family.
Absolutely. So you've kind of talked a little bit about the So what have you done over the last few years to kind of boost yourself a little bit more than what you've previously produced, and how do you think you've improved on your content experience so far?
There were many bumps in the road. Hardly anybody tuned in, and hardly anybody was up to participate in any stream and interaction in the chat, be it guest or collaboration. If you could stream on a platform and you have plenty of followers with the potential to expand your fan base, go for it. Otherwise, try streaming on platforms you are already well known on and get them to follow all of your platforms.
It's great advice.
It's the proper way to reposition your content, and repositioning is merely the act of targeting a new niche, a new market to compete in. That kind of thing. And I've also learned about the positioning matrix and how it allows us to find competition, find an unoccupied niche, or understand where we stand in the market. And all that comes in line with a succinct expression of how our market is placed, called a positioning statement. Yeah, that was the question that I missed only once.
Oh, okay.
And
But lucky you learned.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lessons learned.
Mhm.
Knowledge gained.
Yep, absolutely. Yes. It's by Lawrence Lessig. Of all the creative work produced by humans anywhere, a tiny fraction has continuing commercial value. For that tiny fraction, the copyright is a crucially important legal device.
Absolutely.
We know what you Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The one that
Mm-hmm.
done something wrong.
Mhm.
but
Yep, and my business law professor's teachings on copyright law have already come into great effect. On episode 2 of the Facebook upload, Meta actually tried to mute the podcast in some countries. They tried it, but I dismissed it.
Did not succeed.
Just Yeah.
Interested now. What college events or club meetings did you attend this past 2 weeks? I mean, we're just in November, so what happened just a little bit ago?
You did.
Starters, I attended Ready, Set, Innovate on October 27th, and the day afterward, the Oregon Tech Foundation Scholarship Award Banquet, which recognized the various donors who fund the education of many students at Oregon Tech, whose accomplishments are recognized by various instructors and faculty. It was an honor getting to meet my donor, who turned out to be a nice lady. She was one of the people who witnessed the Pearl Harbor bombing and knew about K-Tech when it was formed on the original Winston-Purvine campus in 1950, when Oregon Tech was known as Oregon Technical Institute.
TI.
So why don't we go into a little bit of depth about what Oregon Technical Institute was and how it became OIT instead of OTI.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, I don't have the website on hand.
That's a cliffhanger alert, folks.
Yet another fourth wall break from yours truly. It was truly an honor to learn about the design process at Ready, Set, Innovate and learn more about the history of Oregon Tech and the great lengths our donors go to fund the education of future engineers, doctors, therapists, and creators such as yours truly again. Lastly, I attended Oregon Tech Top's Ghost Tour with campus safety Corporal Bowman. We've listened to stories about hauntings across campus, and that when people die, they tend to haunt properties they own and reside in the wooden frames that people do not suspect are haunted. It was quite interesting to say the least, and everyone brought quite the unique costumes to say the least. Anakin Skywalker. Yep, we even went into Cornet Halls and never seen before Torture Room, where there was a ghost that resided. When Corporal Bowman said to turn on the pump, not too long after, the pump went on. When he said to turn it off, went off instantaneously. I mean, it was freaky. Like, this was my first how do I say this?
Supernatural.
Supernatural encounter. I cosplayed as Anakin Skywalker that day and memed on TikTok, which garnered over 900 views. Yes, this is more evidence that TikTok is a pretty popular platform, and probably the platform where I go viral on. Yes.
To 10, how well did these events help you get involved with Oregon Tech or the Klamath community, and why?
10. There wasn't a better time to get away from the office than this. The first encounter with a psychokinetic entity was very bizarre, to say the least. Knowing that there are supernatural presences present in many locations is tremor-inducing. Therefore, it's important not to provoke the wrath of any supernatural entity in the room. It may just come back to bite you. I think Corporal Bowman talked about, there was this child that had a little bit of a white eyes, a bit of a,
Ghost.
Mhm.
He's from Amityville Horror House.
Yes. That investigation. And I think when we went into Purvine, that was a story where the child was actually, talking to him, and the child said not to bang, not to.
Right.
There shouldn't be any banging noises, and the vending machine just banged.
Oh
and
yeah.
So
He asked the young girl, right?
Right.
To not
Yeah.
bang.
Yep. And then it banged, and then it was kind of a laugh. It was kind of a
Yeah.
nod.
The ghost got Corporal Bowman a soda.
Yes.
The vending machine went off when he was talking to the ghost.
And it was his favorite
His
soda.
favorite soda. Cool. Yeah. On the stairs of Purvine.
it's almost as though his mind was being read. I mean, psychokinetic energy, PKE,
Ooh.
those kinds of things.
Okay.
Ghostbusters reference. Yeah. Believe it or not, I actually have the world record on the Ghostbusters pinball machine. I'm not sure I'm not sure if you've heard that yet, Tammie, but it's actually true. 191 billion on Ghostbusters, 2.9 billion on Mustang, 10 billion on High Roller Casino, and just recently I realized that my first world record was on the Harley Davidson pinball machine. That's where I got all those skills from. My world record on that is 2.3 billion. And so how I developed my pinball skills was I started on the Harley Davidson, which actually had a third button, which would pop up a bumper that prevented the ball from falling. Yes.
Physical or virtual?
Virtual. However, the virtual machines are based off of the real machines. And so, in a sense, it kind of reflected, the machines that were actually built and that actually existed and still do to this day. And believe it or not, Harley Davidson was not that new of a machine. It was a bit of an older one, but something a little bit more modern. All the machines in the Stern Pinball Arcade collection were, of course, made by Stern.
Oh.
One of them was actually partially made by Sega, if you can believe it. And that machine was Frankenstein. And the maximum score you can get on that is 9,999,999,990. It was just sheer ridiculousness all around. It's kind of bizarre that you can hack a score that way. Well, that's going to be disclosed at the end of each episode. The klaxon horn hasn't exactly gone off just yet. Yes, absolutely. Quite a nice way to keep ourselves a little bit preoccupied, get some additional conversing in. I guess I might as well tell about the perpetual income system while we're at it. So with the perpetual system, you record every single sale when it's recorded. And you use, you don't use freight out or stuff like that when you do a perpetual system. That's for periodic inventory system. You only record the cost of goods sold at the end of each accounting period, every interim period, every quarter period, every fiscal period.
Can you think of how
Well, I did think about using the perpetual system to track my equipment, and as well as the funds that I used to battle workaholism. But it's just so hard to keep track of everything. Like, I have to track the original sales of the equipment and such. It's a bit tough to do, but I'm pretty sure that I might be able to track down everything and just straight up line up everything in one place.
what you've been doing to battle workaholism on campus?
Around the campus? Well, attend the top events, of course. Yes. Not only that, but these also add on to the activities charts, which I actually just recently submitted for the trip to Washington, D.C. So odds are during spring break, you might catch me out of the office and out of stream for the month of March at the end of the month.
Do special from DC.
Yes. Yes. Or maybe a TikTok blog. That'd be more appropriate. Yep. But right, but Yes. Yeah, but in any case, I better prepare my suitcase because this is likely to be a little bit of a business trip in of itself. And there we go. Klaxon the horn has gone off, and our episode has officially come to an end. And before we go, we're gonna go ahead and go through our scholarly shoutouts and creator credits. We're gonna start off with Dr. Mandy Clark, Vice President and Dean of Students at Oregon Tech. Things have not been the same at Oregon Tech since Dr. Foley retired. However, Dr. Clark is kind and understanding and believes in the students at Oregon Tech. She has new perspectives to offer, and she is also helping me in the meeting we have scheduled to address workaholism at OIT. However, folks, understand that on behalf of Dr. Clark's and my wishes, the meeting information is to be kept confidential to the public eye. This is a meeting that concerns Oregon Tech. Only professionals, officials at OIT and student leaders such as myself will be aware of the meeting time and location. Thank you for your understanding and patience. And then next, I'm giving a shout out to the Oregon Tech Foundation and all of the donors to their scholarships. The Oregon Tech Foundation hands out millions of dollars in scholarship money to students who seek to build their futures and cement their skills to display their talents and contribute to society. Without the donors of the scholarships, none of this would be possible. Education is truly a powerful tool and can advance the lives of so many people. Thank you, Oregon Tech Foundation, for inspiring many students to become student leaders at Oregon Tech and inspiring the next generations of engineers, doctors, business personnel, and even creators such as myself. And then our creator credits. This is where we give credit to creators on the internet. And believe it or not, our creator credit goes to a internet user by the name of Professor Andy. He's not, I don't think he's an actual professor, but that's actually his internet username. When OBS reinstalled on my new laptop, I noticed that the virtual camera disappeared. And I tried every way to get it back to no avail. That is until I came across this small YouTuber. He had a tutorial that involved going into the program itself, finding the virtual camera files, and clicking the install program that installed the OBS Virtual Camera onto the program. Thank you, Professor Andy. You got my virtual camera back, and I can do my guest streams in peace once more. You deserve that sub.
Yay.
And then my second creator credit actually is multiple, just like in the scholarly shoutouts. I'm giving a shout out to ASMR channels from all over the world. I tried recording ASMR myself and discovered it was not quite my niche. Simply put, whenever I tried to whisper into the microphone wouldn't exactly pick up my voice so much. However, ASMR channels are valuable in providing comfort to many individuals who are stressed out, including college students studying for exams. May your work get further notice.
Story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Story.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, perhaps that reading voice was what I should have used for ASMR. Might try recording again, but we'll.
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah, there's those opportunities out there, but you just gotta look through every window. So that's just gonna about do it for season 2, episode 3. Tammie, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your experiences. And thank you, Zoe, for being our recurring guest for season 2. And remember, folks, there'll be disappointments in life, but us humans have the power to turn those disappointments into accomplishments. This is Waynesy0207, aka Colton W. Hurst, aka the Fourth Wall Breaking One-Man Army, signing out. Good night, everyone, and I'll see you in our next stream.
Good night.
Special thanks go to Oregon Institute of Technology, celebrating 75 years of applied learning in climate candies. This has been a Fourth Wall Breaking One-Man Army production.